All right, looks like we have a quorum. I'm going to call the meeting to order pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Act of 2023 on March 29, 2023. Maura Healy signed into law an act making appropriations for fiscal 2023 to provide for supplementing certain existing appropriations for certain other activities projects. This act includes an extension until March 31st, 2025 on the remote meeting provisions. March 19th, 2025 select board meeting will be conducted by a remote participation by the board. The chair, I will grant permission to Westwood Media to record this meeting and to anyone else who wishes to record the meeting, and they may be live streaming. I don't have a lot for the chair's update other than to remind folks that Westwood Day this year will be on September 20th. September 20th. It's a bit later than before, but it seems to work out best for all involved. So please mark your calendars. There'll be a lot more information to follow. Chris, do you have anything to do under the chair update?
Just to expand a little bit, Mr. Chair, on Westwood Day. So Westwood Day this year, there is not a scheduled home football game on Friday, September 19th. However, we will still have fireworks. And the Recreation Director and Assistant Director are speaking to the Recreation Commission regarding making a recommendation to the board to hold an established day of the year for Westwood Day. So for example, Westwood Day, September 20th is going to be the third Saturday in September. One of the things that we compete against is other communities and the events that they have. And each community tends to have generally the same vendors. So when we are matched up against another community on their day, we have less vendors attending. So having a scheduled day each year is something that the Recreation Commission will be discussing, and we'll come back to the board. But just to inform everyone, we will have fireworks, but there's no scheduled home game on September 19th.
Thank you, Chris. All right. Mary and Rob, do you guys have any questions, comments before I go into the next section?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. The select board will be going into executive session to discuss one issue pursuant to general laws, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to potential litigation involving property at 637 High Street, discussion of which would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governing body if the discussion were in open session. The board will be returning to open session. So could I have a motion, please, to go into executive session?
That this board go into executive session for the aforementioned reason.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Rob. Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. See you.
Mr. Chair, real quick, do we have an estimate on when we'll be back for anybody who's in attendance?
Our super duper scorekeeper says approximately 30 minutes. Is that correct, Trish?
Yes,
Give
give or take. Approximately.
Give or take. Thanks, Rob, for bringing that up.
Right.
All right. See you folks on the other side. Thank you all for we're all here. All right. I believe we're at the annual town meeting article and discussions. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
All right. And I think you're going to lead on this. Is the annual town meeting discussion, potential vote to amend, accept, and remove articles. I've got Stephanie. Who's presenting this, Stephanie or you?
Yeah,
Chris?
I'm just gonna jump in. I have a very quick update for you. At your last meeting, you had seen a draft of budget articles 1, 2, and 3. And I'm just going to quickly give a few updates, show that those are finalized, and have you do a vote on those. So if I could. All right.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yep. So the only thing that has changed from those 3 articles since the last time we met was budget article 3, which is the main operating budget. We needed to find additional cuts places to account for an increase to our property general liability due to the Pine Hill School. So in order to counterbalance that increase for FY26, we cut other areas in fixed costs, including $11,000 from health insurance and $10,000 from the waste collection and disposal budgets. So now with those cuts, the entire budget, Article 3 operating budget is balanced and ready to be voted for approval by the board. Article 1 is the exact same as the last time I presented to you. There's been no changes. We just see that the word draft is taken off. It's still for $192,000 for snow and ice being funded with the FinCom reserve. And then budget Article 2, same as last time as well, just with draft removed for a total of $455,000. That includes police salaries, fire salary closeouts, and ambulance services and equipment funded with free cash and ambulance receipts. So for tonight, it would, for this morning, it would just be to vote those 3 articles as they are finalized. They will then move forward to the Finance and Warrant Commission. A memo was sent to FinCom last week with initial updates, and I will just be sending a memo with these further changes and then present at the March 25th FinCom final public hearing.
Can you just tell me the two 11Ks that on your first slide that were cut?
Yep, so 11,000 was from health insurance and 10,000 was from the waste collection and disposal budgets, both in fixed costs.
My screen froze.
Can you hear me at least, or? Joe, can you hear
Joe,
me
can you
now?
hear us now?
I can now.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed.
Yeah, no,
So
no
11K,
problem.
11K from health insurance and 11K from,
And 10,000 from waste collection and disposal.
but that yard waste is still in there.
The previous board vote that the board has taken is still included in this proposed balanced budget.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Thanks,
Yeah,
Chris.
thank you.
So do we have a motion on those, or is there more, Stephanie?
Nope, that's all on my end. Thank you.
Yes, I move that we support the language for budget article number 1 in the FY25 budget adjustments by transfer.
Second that motion.
Roll call, Mary Ann,
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well, motion carries.
I move that we support the language for budget article number 2, the FY25 budget adjustments by appropriation.
Second that motion.
Roll call, Mary Ann,
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well.
And I move that we support the language for budget article number 3, FY26 operating budgets, Appendix D.
Second that motion.
Roll call, Mary Ann,
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well, unanimous.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That brings us up to
Proposed zoning, Mr. Chair.
yeah, let me. Oh, I can't do it. Okay. And who's leading the zoning?
For this proposed zoning bylaw discussion, I believe Town Council Ahern.
Pat, you're on mute.
Is
I heard
Brian
him.
Winter available in waiting to come in?
He is. He's Mead, Tallerman, and Costa.
I can bring him in. Thought he just, hold on.
So good morning. With me today is Brian Winter, our lead counsel for Mead, Tellerman and Costa, to talk about a potential zoning article as a resolution, as a potential resolution to the litigation regarding Fire Station 1. There is a provision, we're looking for a zoning article to exempt public safety buildings from the dimensional requirements of zoning articles. And it is not completely drafted at this point in time, but I'm looking for, and Brian, please chime in if I misspeak something, a potential zoning article that I would approve to move forward when we finalize language. Brian, have I misspoken anything?
Mr. You have not, but let me just add maybe a little bit of a nuance. So, of course, that policy choice and direction is this board's, is the elected executive body. And so we only have the ability to sort of fulfill the wishes of the board and execute them. And so you have a non-delegable duty to determine what the substance of that should be. But we have the ability to provide drafting support, clerical support, and execute that direction as given to us. So my request is, as Pat was articulating, would be that you tell us with specificity what the material components are and what you would like to see in that, and we will finalize the drafting effort so that it is consistent with and complies with your direction.
So I believe, Brian, the first point is to have the title of the amendment. Is that correct? What you need, what we need?
Yes, sir.
So may I say, or do you have one prepared, Marianne?
Oh, yes, what we've discussed in executive session is zoning amendments relative to public safety buildings.
Thank you.
Again, I think the point of this discussion is that, as we have discussed at innumerable meetings leading up to today, is that we have an urgent need to replace Fire Station 1 for all of the reasons that have been stated, and I'm not going to restate all of them. And so as to avoid further delays and unnecessary cost escalations, we are now proposing a zoning bylaw amendment that would exempt public safety facilities only from zoning dimensional requirements so that we can meet our public safety needs, keeping in mind that the proposed FS1 has already gone through rigorous process and was unanimously approved by the planning board with the EIDR process and variances allowed by the Zoning Board of Appeals. And so with respect to the amendment we are proposing, we have been advised by council that such amendments are very common throughout the Commonwealth in other municipalities. And my view is that this action is necessary so that we can deliver on public safety in Westwood.
Point of order, Madam Clerk. Do you wish to use one of the open miscellaneous articles to put forth this zoning variance article?
Yes. I'm happy. Sorry.
No, Mary, I think you hit all the points that we discussed in executive session, unless Brian or Pat see otherwise.
No, I think someone can adopt that as a motion. And second, and then you can move forward.
So do I need to do that since Marianne has read it as such?
So I see Nora has her hand up.
Just one request that in that motion, you include a reference to the planning board for a public hearing.
Fair enough.
Rob, would you be so kind?
I will make the motion that we adopt the direction that Marianne has just specified for the drafting of said article with the inclusion of the requested reference to planning board for a public hearing. Is that satisfactory, Mr. Council?
I think it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Marianne?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, everybody. Next, I believe we have a zoning bylaw amendment relative to floodplains.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and we have our conservation agent, Karen Catroni here, as well as the Director of Community Economic Development, Nora Lockwood.
Thank you. Nora, would you like to take this?
Sure. So what I'd like to explain to you is this is very last minute. We completely understand that. Due to some misunderstandings in conversation between our staff and staff of the state MEMA department, and people who are responsible for ensuring that we comply with requirements for our flood insurance program, we have learned that the town must approve specific amendments to its flood area overlay district section of its bylaw to bring that bylaw into conformance with the state model. And we must do so before the effective date of the new flood maps and flood report that become effective on July 8th. So because of that, we're asking the board to allocate one of its reserve articles for this article and to sponsor the article. It would be a zoning amendment to the flood area overlay district section of the zoning bylaw, section 9.2. And the changes are specifically required by FEMA and by MEMA to bring our local bylaw into compliance with the guidelines. If we fail to do so, we will lose, Westwood will be withdrawn from the flood insurance program. So this is a very necessary action to take.
And that could have a devastating effect on many people's mortgages and houses.
I'd be pleased to bring a motion, Mr. Chair, if this is
Please.
appropriate
Yep.
time.
Yep, thank you, Marion.
I hereby move that the select board sponsor, using one of our miscellaneous articles, a zoning amendment warrant article for consideration by voters at the May 19, 2025 annual town meeting, which article would ask voters to adopt proposed revisions to section 9.2 of the Westwood zoning bylaw, flood area overlay district, in order to achieve compliance with FEMA regulations prior to the release of the Norfolk County Flood Insurance Study on July 8, 2025. And if the board so votes, for the select board to forward the FAOD zoning amendment warrant article to the planning board with a request for a planning board public hearing on the warrant article at the earliest possible date, and for the planning board's favorable recommendation on the warrant article to town meeting voters.
Second that motion.
Roll call. Marianne,
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. I believe that brings us to the end of those zoning articles. Is that correct, Chris?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I have to drop. I'm already 5 minutes late for a 9:30 meeting, so unless there's anything else requiring my vote, I'm going to bid farewell.
Rob, thanks so much for hanging in there. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, brings us to open business. Any open business coming before us?
You
Any
have three,
questions?
you have three questions in the, I think there's 2 or 3 questions in the chat, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Pat. Tish, can you help me with those?
Sure. The first one is from Kathy Wallace, 283 Farm Lane. Please explain the Pine Hill liability costs necessitating budget cuts. And then she says, Ms. Wallace additionally says, 283 Farm Lane, are you not funding the 2 firefighters?
I don't believe we are funding the firefighters, and I'm not sure I can answer the question about her first question. Does anybody want to take a stab at that, or should we come back to that at our next meeting?
Well, Mr. Chairman, procedurally, I believe you have not taken a vote to change the budget that you approved without the 2 firefighters some time ago. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head. So that's the answer to that. And
Okay.
I'll defer to someone else on the liability insurance.
Mr. Chair, I'll attempt to answer the question regarding liability insurance. The town did receive an increase in liability insurance after some estimates were received from our insurance company that put forth in the original proposed balanced budget that the board voted back in February. The increase is as a result of the Pine Hill School being insured in full for a full fiscal year. So in order to address those cuts, we discussed different things with our insurance company to reduce that amount, which we were fortunate able to do. As a result, we had a balance, and that balance resulted in a cut, a reallocation of funds from what Stephanie mentioned today, and then also a reduction in some contracted services and some personnel areas within the town administrator's budget.
Thank you very much.
Stephanie, did I miss anything?
No, and it was presented on March 10th if
Oh, I'm
any
sorry,
further
March 10th, I
detail is
apologize.
needed. Yep.
All right, that brings us down to our next meeting.
And there's one other comment, Joe, and it's from
Oh.
Ada Zong, and 73 Partridge Drive. Thank you, Chair, Select Board, and Town Administrators for your dedicated service. I urge you not to raise ambulance rates for Westwood taxpayers. Like the tight town budget you mentioned, every household faces daily financial challenges. Inflation has soared over the past 4 years. Per Westwood CRS plan in December 2024, 5% of Westwood residents live in poverty and 24.6% are over 60, mostly on fixed incomes. Young families are also strained by rising after school fees and job concerns. New fire station could cost the taxpayers over 70 million in the next 30 years if approved. Residential property taxes have already climbed significantly in recent years. Higher ambulance fees would burden families further during health emergencies. Please avoid this increase and explore creative solutions like boosting commercial property tax revenue to address the budget. Thank you. And it says 2-1. I don't know what that means, but that's the comment.
Mr. Council, I believe that's referring to one of two because this resident has two comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see the second one.
I'm glad you can read it, Pat. I can't.
You want me
New
to read it?
glasses, Joe. Good morning, Stephanie. It's great to see you here. I have a few questions I'd like to raise for better understanding of the role of commercial property in Westwood. Could you please tell me the amount of real estate taxes paid by commercial properties to Westwood in fiscal years 2019 through 2024? I am interested in grasping how significant these properties are to our town's finances. Additionally, aside from real estate tax revenues, meals tax and hotel tax, are there other revenue sources that commercial properties contribute to Westwood? If today's hearing isn't the right time to address these questions, I appreciate it if you would reply to me, but to my email at your earliest convenience. Thank you very much.
Thank you for reading that, Pat, and Ada, thank you for your comments, and I'm sure Stephanie will have the information you're looking for. All right, folks. Our next meeting is March 24th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. Mary Ann,
I will
would you
make,
please
I will
make a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh.
you can second that out of the doctrine of necessity.
Thank you, Pat. I will second that out of necessity. Roll call, Mary Ann.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Good. I will say good night.